In this video, I'm going to talk about an often overlooked but critically important skill if you want to pass intense job interviews. And I believe the best way to pitch this to you would be to present three common scenarios on why people fail these interviews. The number one scenario I want to talk about here is candidates don't understand why the question gets asked. Okay, so if we take a simple example, if you'd ask a technical PM, tell me about the time when you did not get along with someone. Okay, and that technical PM would basically go for 15 minutes straight with their best story, showcasing their technical expertise. And at some point they would say, you know, the other guy wasn't really skilled. I didn't really enjoy working in the other place. They were not really high performance, and I felt like I was always the best guy there, right? Basically, you know, the candidate would get it wrong as to why the question gets asked and would try to push on their technical subject matter expertise, whereas the reason why the question was asked was their interpersonal skills, to see on whether you're the type who can easily get along with other people, you can work in a team, and these sort of things, right? So it's as simple as that. If you don't understand why the question gets asked, you simply make or break your performance, okay? Second scenario I'd like to talk about here is that things don't go always as planned in job interviews. Okay, so candidates can make mistakes, okay? And oftentimes the interviewer will try to get you back on track, right, through some follow-up questions, right? If you understand why they ask you these follow-up questions, you could eventually get back on track and save your performance, right? If you don't, then, you know, you're going to still keep your tunnel vision and, you know the rest, right? And the third scenario I'd like to talk about here, in job interviews, you know, because the time is very limited, the best way to know a candidate would be to do some tests, to perform some tests with them, such as the backbone test. This is the most common of them, right? For instance, if you're a web developer and you're saying that you decided to make your website's background blue because you thought it was a cool color, and they would follow up with a challenge question, something on lines, are you sure that blue was the best color? I think red would have been far better, okay? And basically you as a web developer would say, well, yes, I mean, it's your interview, you know, I must really obey, in a sense, to what you're saying, you know, because you have the upper hand, so I'd rather be likable for the purpose of this job interview. And also, again, if the candidate does not understand why the question gets asked, that you don't spot the backbone test, you might fall also into the trap of agreeing for the sake of social cohesion, and therefore, you know, fail that test, right? So if it's not clear by now, the skill that I'm talking about that is critically important to pass job interviews with high-performing companies in particular is listening skills. Okay, so I found that some of my best customers also happen to be the best listeners. And just a quick anecdote here. It took me 1 year of full-time interview coaching to really understand what listening skills is all about. Okay, now I previously coached many people before in other settings, but listening skills is something which really pays off, and in job interviews in particular. So I hope you found this useful, and thank you very much for watching.